Hello, welcome to today's lesson. Today we are going to look at what we call orthographic projection. This is a type of drawing in which we represent three-dimensional diagram with two-dimensional diagram. This is a type of drawing that is mostly used by those in the engineering field and in the construction field, as well as general designing. Engineers and architects and general designers normally represent their diagrams of products or artifact which is supposed to be constructed in two dimension, and these two dimension provide further details for the construction or the artifact which is supposed to be made. Now remember I said we represent three dimension with two-dimensional diagram. Now this two-dimensional diagram is done by drawing the various plane surfaces that comes together to make or to form the three-dimensional figure. Now when you look at this diagram here, this is a cuboid. This cuboid is made up of 6 different plane surfaces. When you count the plane surfaces, you get 6. There's 1, 2, 3. The one behind it, if I turn it like this, makes it 4. Here becomes 5. Then the bottom side also becomes 6. For the purpose of this tutorial or lesson, we are only going to concentrate on just 3 of the views or the plane surface, the one that you can see based on what we have here. So you can see you have 1, 2, and 3 plane surfaces. Okay. Now these plane surfaces in orthographic projection has names that we use to refer to them. Now when you look at the plane surface here, this plane surface here is pointing to a certain arrow here. Now what this arrow is trying to say is that we are standing or we are facing the diagram in this direction. Now when you are facing this diagram in this direction, let me use colors to represent each component. Okay. So we are looking at this where we are facing. Now from where you are standing and facing the diagram in orthographic projection is referred to as the front view or the front elevation. The front elevation. Now this view here is found on the right adjacent side of the front elevation. So this view here then becomes the right end elevation, because it is found on the right side. So we use a different color to represent that one too. Now if I turn it like this, this view here becomes your left end elevation, but we are only concentrating on this side and this side. So we know of the front elevation being the view that you see when you are facing the diagram. Then the right end elevation becomes the view that you see, or the view which is right adjacent to the front elevation. Now we are left with one view that we can see based on how the diagram has been drawn. The last view we call the plan, which is the top view here. We also use a different color for it. So the plan becomes the view that you see when you look at the diagram from above. Again, the plan is the view that you see when you look at the diagram from above. Now, if you are standing in front of the diagram here, that is where the red is, you'll not be able to see where the green is. Neither will you be able to see the blue. So if you want to see the blue, unless you come and stand here, if you want to see the green, unless you are suspended somewhere here, then you'll be able to see the entire shape of the plan. So these are the various plane surfaces that we can see. They are not the only plane surfaces that forms the diagram. But I said we are only going to look at this three. Based on how the diagram is, we can only see two plane surfaces. So that is what we want to concentrate on. Now these various views or elevations are drawn neatly on a principal plane, and they are drawn to lie on top of each other, or to lie side by side. Drawing these various views on a principal plane, we have two ways of doing that, which we call the types of orthographic projection. One is the first angle projection, that is this here, and two is the third angle projection. The difference between the first angle and the third angle projection is the arrangements of the various views. So when you look at the diagram here, you can see there's a difference between the two diagram here. Now let's look at the third angle here. With the third angle here, we say the plan, that is the view that is seen when you are suspended or when you are above the diagram. The plan is drawn here. The front elevation is drawn beneath or below the plan. Then your end elevation, for the purpose of this lesson, which is the right based on the diagram, is drawn beside the front elevation. Now when you go to the first angle, it becomes the opposite of the third angle. So in this case, you can see the plan is now beneath, whilst the front elevation and the end elevation is above. So that is the main difference between the third angle projection and the first angle projection. Now in drawing these various views, we have specific planes that we draw these views on. You cannot just decide to draw the front elevation maybe somewhere here, then the end elevation somewhere here, then maybe the plan also somewhere here. Now let's go to the main diagram, then let me show you something. Our plan here is drawn on a principal plane that we call the horizontal principal plane. Then the front elevation here and the right end elevation here is drawn on what we call the vertical plane. Now let's look at this principal plane, this various principal plane in 3D, so that we get a better understanding of it. Now this, the principal plane, that is the planes that we have here, the planes that we drew our front elevation and the other views on. In 2D, these are the elevations the principal plane looks like. This is called the horizontal plane. Then this is known as the vertical or the side vertical plane. Again, the horizontal plane and the vertical or the side vertical plane. Now let's look at the various elevation that can be drawn on the specific types of planes. So we look at our plane in 3 dimensions. As you can see, I've made it principal plane in 3D. So if I do it like this, you see that there's the horizontal plane, then the vertical plane. And you can see it has been divided into from 5D intersect, then automatically creating 4 different quadrants. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 quadrants. So which of the various views is drawn on which of the planes. In looking at the principal plane in 3D, as I said earlier, you can see this side is automatically horizontal. From here to here is horizontal. Then from this side to this side becomes the vertical plane. It can be the side or the normal vertical plane. So how do we know that maybe the plan or the right end or the front elevation will be found on on the planes here? Now let's go back to our main diagram. Now look at the diagram here. Looking at the diagram, and you know what a vertical line is. From the top here of the diagram, to this side here is a vertical side. From here to the bottom here is a vertical side. Then from this side also to this side is It's a vertical side. Now, if I turn the diagram like this, then you have a better understanding of how the diagram looks like. So you see, this side becomes a vertical side. If I turn it like this too, it also becomes a vertical side, like a wall that you see when you are in a building. You see the wall as vertical. So that is what this one also looks like. So if this side becomes the vertical sides, then it means these two will be drawn on the vertical plane here. Remember, we have two. We have the vertical plane and then the side vertical plane here. So in this case, we have the front elevation and the right end elevation. Now what we normally do is that we draw the front elevation on the vertical plane. Then we draw the end elevation, being the left or the right, on the side vertical plane. So looking at our principal plane in 3D, it means our front will be drawn here on this side here. If I turn it like this, you can see this is also the vertical side. So our front will be drawn on this side here. Then our side vertical plane will also be drawn on this side. The front can also be drawn here. Then beside the front we have the side vertical plane. If we also move it downwards, the front and the side vertical plane. Then our plan would then be drawn on the horizontal plane, because the plan lies horizontally. The right and the front elevation lies vertically, like a wall. Then the plan lies horizontally, like a floor. Okay, so when you look at this our horizontal side. So the plan, which on the diagram is here, will be drawn on the horizontal side. Okay, so when you draw them, this is how it will look like. So this is what we have. This becomes our plan. This becomes our front elevation. The front elevation we use the red. The plan we use the green. Then the end elevation, which is the right end elevation, we use the blue. The same applies to this side. Okay, let's go back to the main diagram and see. This side becomes our front elevation. This side becomes our right end elevation, and this side also becomes our plan. Okay, so thank you for watching. We'll meet you another time.